Test. 1, 2, 3, test. Let's hope it works this time. All right, g'day and welcome back to the Wing It podcast, episode number 25. Quarter mile? Quarter century.
Quarter century.
Yeah.
Can you think of anyone from Port with 25? Or
I've had 2 shots of this now because the first one didn't record and I still have nothing.
Will and Drew?
Nah, maybe.
No, I don't think so.
I've got no idea. All I know about 25 is Christmas Day and quarter.
Well, you got Ned McHenry from the Crows.
Little shit. Played very well in the week.
Playing very well, yeah. Daniel McStay.
That's a household name.
And I think he used to be Mitch Hannon from the Demons.
Wow.
I
Star-studded lineup.
Yeah, 25 is a pretty big number. Hawk, is he 25?
Maybe.
I think he is.
Yeah, it could be actually.
Yeah, I could go all day, to be honest. I could probably name every team's 25.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. Anyway, moving on. We've got a lot of news to get through in Cam's News, as we are now calling it, Cam's News segment. As Dogger said, or as didn't say, he said to the last recording, but not on this one, that one of the biggest weeks of the footballing season in terms of news and controversial news especially. So we will touch on it a little bit, not spend too much time on it because it's not really our place to say too much on it, I don't think.
Exactly. I think everything's been said about it as well.
Yeah, what could have been said. So, but anyway, without any further ado, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, Tex Walker.
It's no surprise to start off with this. I think if there's any sport talk show in Australia, this is the first thing they're starting off with, isn't it? So,
yeah.
He's been suspended 6 weeks, $20,000 fine, and he's apologised publicly now. I don't think there's too much to say on it. I have nothing else to say on it. I think the only thing I have to say on it, is I don't think we'll see Tex Walker play another game of football.
Really?
I don't think he can come back and earn the trust back of not only his Indigenous teammates, but just his genuine, all his peers. I think he's going to struggle to get respect back, and not just his teammates, but the whole entire AFL community and Australia, to be real.
Yeah.
So, but more importantly, and specifically his teammates. You know, if you don't have respect for your teammates, that's going to be a tough thing to build chemistry and a culture in a club that struggles with that already.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. Obviously, you need to be careful speaking about it. But obviously what he did was wrong. He's understood now what he did is wrong. Doesn't obviously make up for it, but I think he's going leaps. He's pulling all the strings to try and sort of apologise as much as he can for it. As you said, with the public apology with Robbie Young. Yeah. And he's obviously has to donate $20,000 to a foundation with Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander children, I believe it is. So
right.
It's good. I like the donation. I think that's good. Obviously, the suspension is fairly warranted from what the alleged comments are.
Yeah.
But I think we can hopefully move on from this. I think Robbie Young, really brave to get on the apology video with him.
Yep.
It's fantastic. He's sort of standing up and saying that people can make mistakes and things like that. So good on Robbie Young, obviously just as a young fella. So it's a
tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a really sad one for Tex and his family and everything like that. That obviously the repercussions has on them from what he said. But no, hopefully, we can move on from this and all learn from this is the main thing. Hopefully as an AFL community, we can definitely learn from this.
And I hope this isn't the last time we see Tex on the footballing field because he's been a great player for a long time and one of the Crows' best players of all time.
Although Mark Prosciutto has come out and said he won't play again.
Yeah,
and Mark Prosciutto is business partner and board member at the Crows. So
that's huge. So I hope for Tex's sake it isn't. But he has to live with the consequences of his actions and he should know better for someone who's been in the community for a long, long time. Yep. So anyway, that's the last we'll say about Tex. Moving on to other news, and it kind of stays a little bit somber actually. All the news is very somber today. This one, I had a near tear in my eye watching this, telling the boys at the Port Club that Tom Rockcliffe has hung up the boots. And then about 3 minutes later, Mark Murphy went and hung up the boots as well. So Mark Murphy obviously due to play his 300th game this weekend, and that I believe will be his final game. Yep. And then Tom Rockcliffe obviously had to hang up the boots. He hasn't gone over his blood clots and will have to be on blood thinners for quite some time if he wants to make sure he has no complications. So
unfortunate.
It's really unfortunate.
6 months ago, he was racking up 40 touches in the VFL, looking to push his way back into the AFL. And now he's got deep vein thrombosis, which has obviously derailed his career, unfortunately.
Took both knees in the same contest, it was.
Yeah.
Landed on funny and then just did them both, and then it never recovered and got DVT.
We were actually speaking to him the day he did it.
There you go.
Remember that?
Were we? No.
Yeah. We were speaking to him at the Sanford game.
Oh, yes, we were too. Yes,
we were. How's the knee? He goes, I don't really know. He didn't really seem too fazed by it.
Yes, we were at down at Glenelg.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Glenelg. He said it wasn't really fazed by it and he could probably play.
Because it's only the left knee he thought he hurt.
Yeah, because he pointed to it. He's like, oh, it's all right. But then found out it was both knees, and then obviously the deep vein thrombosis.
This is nearly a month or so later came out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. So,
Far
yeah,
out.
unfortunate
Forgot
for
about
Rocky.
that.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Good memory.
So, yeah, obviously we were sideline reporters then for that day. So, but no, really unfortunate to hear with Rocky, and great to hear that Murphy's able to make to the 300 though.
Yeah, that is great.
So obviously deserves it. Legend of the club, isn't really in their best 22 at the moment. So I think it's in the club's best interest and his best interest that he does leave. Following his 300th game, but they've done it pretty smart to get him there. He's been the medical sub for a few games. So
I don't think it's the way he would have liked to have done it, but at the end of the day, he gets his 300 games in a team he probably doesn't fit into anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, Mark Murphy. I mean, as a Port Adelaide South Australian, I don't really have anything to do with Mark Murphy, but he's one of those guys like Nathan Jones. I put them in the same echelon. No real individual accolades. I don't think either of them ever made an All-Australian, but they were good Warriors and solid players for their own clubs, and they both deserve to get the 300 games, which they now both have, I believe.
Yep.
So, good on them, and they are great servants for their own clubs. So, congrats to Mark Murphy again to 300.
And one of the most heartbreaking
Yeah,
stories
this has to be
the
one of the
weekend.
most of the year, I reckon.
Yeah.
Especially with the stage of the season we're in, and then not to mention the stage of the game it was in.
Yeah.
Is Josh Bruce doing his ACL. I switched off. I saw him on the floor, and I just thought I don't know. I thought I was falling over. I switched back off to the next game to watch the Brisbane game. And then I found out 20 minutes later he's done his suspected ACL. Who would have thought that?
Shocking for Bruce.
In the last
siren,
second,
yeah,
on the siren,
literally.
pretty much.
But no,
Heartbreaking.
48 goals this season. He's having his best season ever. He's just been lethal in front of goal. He's been loving the service that he's been getting from obviously this unbelievable Bulldogs team, and he's been gelling so well with all of the players as well. So it's
And Norton, they both just feed off each other perfectly.
They've been great tandem together. So it's really unfortunate to see. Obviously, it really, really hurts the Bulldogs as well coming into the final series.
We'll speak about this more later on.
Yeah, exactly.
But it hurts them hugely. But main things, condolences go out Alex Bruce and
Josh Bruce.
So does Alex Bruce? What is Alex
You've
Bruce?
even written Alex Bruce there as well.
I think Alex Norton I was getting confused with at the same time. Alex Bruce. Anyway.
Aaron Norton as well?
Aaron Norton. Oh, fuck me. I've had a stinker. Who's Alex Bruce?
Alex Keith, maybe.
Who the fuck's Alex Bruce? Josh
I don't
Bruce.
know. But sorry to Josh Bruce.
Sorry, Josh Bruce. All right, condolences. I'll cut that out. Condolences go out to Josh Bruce, obviously. So hopefully a speedy recovery, mate, and all the best. Now let's get on to our review. I've got a few extra games in it this week because it was a great round of footy.
Unreal.
I've got 2 tips.
Yeah, shocking.
I don't think many people got more than 3.
Well, I got 4.
Now, there you go. So one man got 4.
No big deal.
But
probably one top.
I think 3 to 4 would be the absolute tops. I don't think anyone's getting more than that. I mean, I had North Melbourne and West Coast, so expected 2. But yeah, 4 at the best. But anyway, first one, we'll kick off on the Friday night. I missed the whole entire game. So
I
leave
nearly
up
missed
to you.
most of it as well.
But there we go. But the Giants upset Geelong at the Cattery. I mean, we both said Geelong's GWS's line was nice, and we agree on that line. But you never back against Geelong. Never back against Geelong at the Cattery.
Yeah.
So many G's.
Well,
Sorry.
as soon as Kelly went out, I became not very confident about the line whatsoever. So
line went out to 39.5.
Yep.
I looked at that about 5 seconds before the bounce. 39.5. Boy, that was a bet, wasn't it? You'd be feeling pretty comfortable after the first 1 minute, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly right. No, GWS just wanted it more. It was just more of a case of GWS got their season on the line, wanting to make finals. Obviously, now that they've won that game, they secured the 8th spot. For this week, that is, because the 8th spot has about 5 or 6 teams running
musical
for
chairs
it.
down there, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. But no, huge win from GWS. I've never seen so much Sam Taylor posts on my Instagram feed in my life. But no, huge game for Sam Taylor. Absolutely shut down Hawkins. And great win from the GWS Giants. They just wanted it far more than Geelong. So no, great win. Obviously, Geelong doesn't have a great back six, as Joel Taylor knows, so really let them down this game. Giants really just ran all over them, so it's probably what we're going to see in finals, because Jeremy Cameron won't come back either as well, so which is just in. So
yeah, they're not feeling confident about him, are they?
They're not at all.
He
was asked on AFL 360. Chris Scott was asked on AFL 360, will Jeremy Cameron be coming back? And he answered it with, he should be back in one of the finals.
That really just shows you've got no confidence in that hamstring, that you rushed back too early to begin with.
Well,
and to do two hamstrings in a year.
Jared said was, I don't sound very confident or optimistic with that response. And Chris Scott goes, some point in the finals.
Yeah, so he's
Not confident at all, and he's not happy about
And
it.
the thing is, when you do a hamstring once, doing it twice is pretty, if you rush them back, it's pretty common. But if you want to come back a third time in a season from a hamstring, you are really getting touch and go with that hamstring. It needs its rest. So that's huge for Geelong. I still think they couldn't enough without him. But obviously, he tips that team over the edge. So hopefully he can get up for Geelong fans and Joel Taylor specifically.
And just on that, the player that did miss that game with I think it was tightness in the hamstring. Josh Kelly has just signed a huge contract extension and will be a giant.
Breaking news as of 1 minute ago.
Breaking news 1 minute ago. You heard it here first on the Winger podcast.
Josh Kelly, monster contract, it says.
Monster contract
it would
extension.
be huge. You'd be a bit 6-year deal, you think, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He's Rolls Royce. So, all right, on to the next game. Can Cam ever tip a Carlton game is what I've labelled this because it's just becoming a bit of a running joke.
How many do you reckon you've tipped correct this year? Being honest.
I think I would say 4.
If it's more than 2, I'd be shocked.
So would I. I think
because they haven't won the games you've expected them to win.
No, I think I would have tipped North Melbourne against them too because I like North Melbourne early in the year. So
interesting.
I don't.
But North Melbourne beat them.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
That was the game I didn't tip. No,
you didn't tip
I don't think
That's
I would
right, you tipped North Melbourne like 6 weeks in a row and then didn't tip them when they played Carlton.
I think I would have had 2 tips with the Carlton. So, And yet again, it's like, if you listen to the podcast, if you were home listening, just whatever I say with Carlton, just do the opposite. I mean,
exactly.
Gold Coast won at $3 odds. It's a great bet.
Ridiculous.
Anyway.
The first 2 games of the round, $6 and $3 underdogs. So, just really shows the kind of round it was.
And it nearly continued into the next game. It was a bit close for comfort for myself, that's for sure, and for anyone on the Brown Bats Bet of the Week punters. But the Crom made it interesting, and it went down to the wire in a classic showdown, but Port's class prevailed late to get a win that we probably didn't deserve.
No, I didn't deserve it at all. Really just didn't show that you're the top 8 side at the moment. Your last few games have been, I don't know, just at certain points during the game, you've just been off the ball massively.
I don't disagree. No,
I don't know what's going on. Sort of since the bye, even it's just at times you haven't even looked like top quality side of the competition. Then at other times you just turn it on and look like one of the best ball movement sides in the comp. So
I've heard that a lot in all the forums and everything that we just don't look right, which is pretty funny for a team that's won 8 of their last 9. So you're right. We've won 8 of the last 9 and we don't look good. So good teams win games they probably shouldn't win, and we keep doing it. Yeah. So if we can string it together for 3 quarters out of 4 in a finals game, watch out.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly
much.
Right.
If we were doing it in 1 quarter out of 3 against these teams, then who knows?
Might see the first final be you versus the Demons.
It's looking lively,
Melbourne.
isn't it? Because Melbourne looks like they, with that draw up their sleeve.
Yeah.
But obviously you got not an easy draw. You should have a win this week, but next week, the last round you play
Geelong at GMHBA.
That's right. Play Geelong, so that's tough.
Yeah, but Geelong don't have a good back 6. So.
Anyway, moving on. But yes, Port get the showdown chocolates. It was a great showdown. I think everyone thought it was going to be 50 plus, to be real. I don't think anyone that I spoke to did think it was, even Crows fans. Yep. So well done to Crows for keeping that as interesting as it could be.
Just going back to it, great win by the Suns as well. Do have to say that. Hats off to them.
Yes.
Carlton didn't just lose it. I think David Teague is now gone.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised. Well, I actually feel a bit bad for him because he took over. This is his 3 years. He took over as the caretaker coach.
Yeah.
And then he had the year which was COVID impacted, which was all messed up in the hub. And then he had a year where 5 rounds into it, they had an internal review and all eyes were on them and every single result in every minute of their game. That's his 3 seasons. That's brutal.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a real good shot at it.
No, and we slammed down Stuart Jew.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have Patrick Cripps, Harry Mackay, Jacob Wiedering, Sam Walsh, Nick Newman.
Liam Jones. Nick Newman really in there?
Yeah, I think Newman's a great player.
McGovern.
Mitch McGovern. Is he really in there? This is a good team.
Yeah.
Adam Starr, Zach Williams. They spent money. This is a good team. There's no excuses. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I think he's gone personally.
I think he's gone. Yeah, I think he's gone too.
I think he understands that. And
heard it here first on the Winger podcast. David Teague has coached his last 2 games for the 2 more games for the Carlton Football Club.
There you go.
Will not be coach in 2022.
But no, the Suns, great win. Hopefully showing good signs for next year. I think if they get some old heads in, then they can push for finals next year. Time
for them to throw the wallet at Steel Side Bottom and Scott Pendlebury.
Definitely.
We've done the...
And Alistair Clarkson.
Yes. Oh, imagine that.
Imagine.
Anyway, done the showdown. Next one I've got there is Saints yo-yo season continues. Not many teams are more frustrating than Carlton, and St Kilda might just be more frustrating. They've gone and beaten Sydney, who have been the most informed team in the competition, I think, for the last month.
Yep.
Being fantastic. Dominated Bulldogs, dominated teams, and then Saints go and dominate them.
It's ridiculous. The Saints they'll beat the Eagles, they'll beat, as we said, Sydney, they'll beat everyone, but then they'll just consistently lose to
Carlton.
the Blues. They'll lose to Essendon, they'll lose to everyone. I think they got beaten by Essendon by
Was it 100 or something?
it was like 90 points or something like that, 89 points. Just such a headache for them. We at the start of the year were so high on them. I had them fifth spot, I believe. Yeah, 100%. And they had just all the pieces for a great year to be shaping up, it looked like. But you just can't trust them now. And they've sort of gone back to the St Kilda of old. But a really damning stat for me is the last 6 years, they've been hovering somewhere from 16th to 18th in goal kicking.
It's continuing. That's a long time.
Except last year, they were third best.
So they've had a fluky year. The shorter quarters, it all worked out.
Yep. And then this year, they're back to 16th.
Wow. But they did win a final last year. I think that's why we were so hot. They won a final. This other team who just snuck in and lost. They won a final.
And if you told me at the start of the year, St Kilda were going to bring in Brad Crouch, Zach Jones is going to be playing well, Brad Hill's got a new role and he's playing well.
Yep.
Jack Higgins comes in and he's straight, on fire.
3 of these players are genuine
unreal.
All-Australian stars.
And Steele has had
a Brownlow medal year.
Brownlow medal type year. I'd be pencil them for top 4, probably top 2.
I think so too.
And then look what they've gone and done. So it's really disappointing from them. They had all the potential in the world and they've really just let everyone down. And more importantly, I think they've let themselves down. So
sucks to be a St Kilda fan.
Yeah, back to the drawing board this year. And I think they could have a big year next year if they piece it all together.
Now on to the next game. Essendon upset the Bulldogs. I don't think anyone would have tipped that one. And now the top 4 race is wide open.
Yeah, I love this.
They've turned the competition on the head, Essendon have.
Well, this week was just unbelievable for the top 4.
Both. Top 4 is wide open.
Yeah.
And even then 5 to 8 or 5 to 12 is wide open too now. It's unbelievable.
Well, this week, 2 of the top 4 lost, and then the other 2 of the top 4 were decided by less than 10 points.
Yeah, against 2 teams that are nowhere near. That West Coast's been nowhere near it in terms of performances, and Crows are nowhere near it.
Exactly right. It was against 3 teams who were hovering around that sort of 8th to 10th spot, and then one team who's right down the bottom of the ladder. So
what a week!
Crazy week. Obviously, the Demons came through with the chocolates, but and they were able to jump over the Dogs. So this was a huge game for the Demons in terms of the Dogs dropping the premiership points.
Huge game for everyone in the top 4, mate. Huge game for Port Adelaide too.
Mainly the Demons.
Huge game for everyone.
But mainly, actually, a huge game for Essendon.
And Geelong.
For Essendon as well. So,
yes.
Essendon, obviously, 4 points now, 1 win behind getting into the 8 and jumping West Coast, who have a terrible percentage.
Yeah, and it nearly got worse.
No, they've not dropped to 8th yet.
No, right.
But yeah, it nearly got very, very bad for them. But no, now it just blows it wide open. So you got Essendon 1 win away, Richmond 1 win away, GWS can leapfrog West Coast next week. You've got Fremantle that can be right up there, and St Kilda that can leapfrog West Coast next week as well, I think. Their percentage might let them down.
And GWS only win in the 8 by half a win because of the draw.
Yeah,
so they are very tediously close.
It's so tight.
It can't get any closer.
And the thing that's making it even tighter is West Coast having such terrible percentage. I think it's 94.4 at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's substantially low.
Yeah, is it 94.4?
95.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, it went up a bit last night. So you got teams like Essendon and Richmond who have over 100 percentage. So when they get a win under their belt, they're just going to leapfrog West Coast. West Coast do not have an easy run whatsoever.
No, it's going to be tough for them. And they've shown they can't. Their Optus Stadium isn't a fortress anymore.
No, they got the Derby, which can always be close.
Oh, that's going to be a great game of football.
Unreal. And then the last game of the season, they've got Brisbane at the Gabba, which you can pretty much pencil in as a loss.
If it's in the Gabba. So they may get lucky there.
Which you can pretty much pencil in as a loss. It's going to be away regardless, I think. So, I said at the start of the season, I've said it pretty much every episode, they're going to fall out of the 8. I do not believe in them whatsoever. Yeah, they've been struck by injury this year. I understand that. But even when they've had a full fit team, everyone's fit and firing, they're just not stepping up and just don't have the balls.
Well, even if they finish 7th or 8th, they're making up the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
So
moving on to the next game of the round.
Yes,
we had the Eagles losing to the Demons. Can I just read out your headline?
I've got a great headline because it's very good. 30-point leads, thunder strikes, and a nail-biting finish in the Wild Wild West. Is that not a good headline or what? Because it was the Wild Wild West of a game. And it was in the West.
It was probably one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
It was unreal.
For reasons that I don't even understand. It was dead bone dry at the start of the night, but windy. And then the wind sort of calmed down and it was nice. Then it was bucketing down after about 3 goals.
We had Shannon Hearn have leather poisoning and then have a hamstring, or whatever it was. We had both subs activated in the first quarter.
And then both subs activated in the first quarter, and then it was bone dry again. Clary was being tagged by Hutchins, who was playing forward and then was
coming off
then tagging.
The flank and tagging.
So then they're playing 5 against our back 6, which is one of the best back 6s in the comp.
Yeah, it was baffling all round.
And then they stopped tagging him and they started scoring goals because of that. And then Clary got off the chain, and then we got up by 30. Then there was thunder and lightning.
And stopped the game for over 30.
Over 30 minutes. And then there was an hour-long last quarter where we ended up winning by 9 points.
And West Coast just came out and you guys were cold.
It was ridiculous.
It was one of those wild games I've ever seen in my life. It was looking so average, but it was looking so awesome after that. That thunder strike, and it was a great game of football.
I was shit myself the whole day. I was really nervous. I thought the energy that West Coast came out with after the thunderstorm, I thought was what they were going to have all game. Season on the line. If they win this, they're in the 8. They're battling in finals. Exactly right. And
that's why I tipped them.
They were just absolutely nowhere near it. No. Like I've said before, they're pussies. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, and West Coast are anything but. So, great win from the Demons. After the Lightning, we came out flat. We just wanted to not lose. So we just wanted to ice the game. Too bad there's 16 minutes left, so you can't really just kick it around and ice the game. That's what we're wanting to do, though. But no, great game from Bowie, who is only his second game, had 17 touches.
Great game by him. You did during it. He played very well. I mean, he's nearly cost at the end with that Tim Kelly on the ball. Yeah, he did. But played very, very good football.
He was unbelievable. And then Petrarca and Clary stepping up as always. Clary didn't have his best game, but it was outweighed by Petrarca's unreal game. And Dogger Jackson, 20 touches again, had a goal.
Locked up rising star for me.
Yeah, I think now he's definitely locked it up. I've heard some pundits still say that Tom Green is their favourite for it, which is interesting. But Dogger Jackson's played every game and hasn't been dropped. So he missed one game, but it was a thumb injury. And then obviously there was a laid out as well. So 2 laid outs. So it was a bit of a crazy game.
Yeah, it was laid outs, wasn't there? It was confusing. Hutchins was in and out 3 times, so I got no idea.
But Ben Brown, unreal game. He's really gelling with our forward line, which is unreal to see. And come finals, it's going to be huge for our forward line to be gelling like that. So I'm really looking forward to finals now. Bring him on. All
right, now moving on to someone who won't be playing finals, but he's playing finals in our mind. And that is the Winger Player of the Week. We have our very first joint Player of the Week. We usually have one each. But this guy has been a Player of the Week for us before, once each.
Yeah, so I didn't even look at anyone else.
No, so it only makes sense for him to be the very first, not only the very first 2-time winger, not only the very first unified Winger Player of the Week, but the very first 3-time trifecta Winger Player of the Week, and that is Will Power.
Nicely done.
Really well done. Like, not only did he play fantastic, he actually played really. Like, we're not even taking the piss here. No. He was fantastic this game. Read it out. 28 touches.
28 touches at 89% efficiency.
That's dumb.
He had a goal. He had 7 tackles, 4 score involvements, and 138 fantasy points.
That's all AFL career highs.
All career highs apart from the goal, but all career highs.
That's unbelievable.
Ridiculous. And he was just like, he epitomised that game for Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Was just unbelievable coming off that halfback flank and just providing with all the run and carry they needed, and obviously setting up goals and getting goals himself as well. So unbelievable game from Will Power. He's strung together a great season. And
you don't get 3 Winger Player of the Weeks by chance.
Exactly. There's only ever been one multiple winner, and it's him. And now he's 3-time winner. So
he's got a long lead.
Even Jack Bowes, who the award is named after, the inaugural Winger Player of the Week, didn't even get it.
Nah.
So, yeah, unbelievable from Will Power, and I reckon he's going to be a huge fantasy pick this year, as we were hinting on before.
Next year, he's definitely a back pocket player for next year.
And that's Will with 1 L.
Yes.
Don't get it twisted.
No. Well done, Will Power. He deserves it. All right, let's move on to our winger tip-off. Tip-off, I'll get... what I might do, because I haven't counted up the tips the last 4 weeks. So when we get to the last round of the year...
I think I'm up by 1.
I don't know, because I was up by a margin and then I've had a stinker. So I don't know.
think I'm up by 1 though.
Maybe. I'll take your word for it. But I doubt it. But I'm going to add them up at the last round of the year. So after this round, I think there's only... Yep. So after this round, I'll add them up and then we'll see how we go going to the last round. Who wins the slab between Dogger and I.
Yep.
So anyway, but let's kick it off. We've got no idea what the order of this is going to be because it hasn't been confirmed. But we're going off what the AFL.com website says. And that the first game is Brisbane Lions taking on the Collingwood Magpies. This is going to be in Melbourne somewhere. So for me, but...
Or it could be in Brisbane.
Another 4 cases today. I doubt it.
Oh, really? Oh.
So it'll be in Melbourne somewhere rather. I imagine Marvel. So for me, I'll be taking the Lions.
Yeah, I'll be taking the Lions in this one. I think 1-39. They haven't really proved.
Yeah, keep it close.
Yeah, they haven't proved that they can put it on teams. And the Pies have just proving that they're so up and down. To be fair, they were down last week, so they could be up again this week.
Yeah,
so
they're a yo-yo side too, aren't they?
big time. So yeah, well, I reckon the Lions will win, but I don't see them really putting it on them or anything like that, and I don't see it being a very exciting game.
No, neither do I.
Jack Crisp revenge game?
Maybe. Oh,
Huge possibilities.
I don't know about huge. On to the next one, Cats and Saints. Both teams looking, well, one team looking to respond and one team looking to continue its good form from 1 week. But like we said, they're a yo-yo side. So if anything, Cats by 90.
Really?
Cats have to respond and Saints are on the bottom of the yo-yo right now.
Are they? Who they?
Well, they won, so they're going to have to lose. They beat Sydney, so they're going to have to lose.
That's right. Yeah. I'm going to be taking Saints in this one.
Really?
Yep. Taking Saints.
Really?
For the win. Yep. 100%.
Because I think the line, if it's at GMH, I don't know where it's at. If it's at GMHBA, I don't give a shit
No,
where
it
it
won't
is.
be.
I think the line could be 30, I think, for
Yep.
Geelong.
And I'll be taking that.
Wow. I'll be taking it
For the
the other
Saints.
way. I'm taking the minus. You're taking the plus.
Yep.
That's the main tip-off for this week, I'd say.
It
That's
is
huge.
No, I reckon, the Saints will win this one. They need to win it come the end of finals. They're going to knock Eagles out, and Eagles are just going to continue their downward spiral.
You know, I won't be upset if it happens. It's good for Port.
I'll be stoked.
Yeah, well, it's good for everyone in the top 4, isn't it? Unless you're Joel Taylor. On to the next game.
I can't see their back six holding up, to be honest.
Against that big, tall King and Membry,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Game over.
On to the next game. Suns and Bombers. Both teams with surprising wins last week. Can they go again? It won't be in Gold Coast, I assume, so it'll be in Melbourne yet again.
Yep.
So therefore, I'm taking the Bombers just because it's in Melbourne, I think.
I'll be taking the Bombers as well. Season's on the line. They're going to be pushing for this one. I think
they have to win this.
I think Will Power will go off. He might even win another Player of the Week.
Imagine
back to back.
Quaddie.
Back to back as well.
That's unbelievable.
It'd be ridiculous. So no, I reckon Will Power could easily win this one for the Suns. Yeah, off his own boot. But no, I'll be taking the Bombers in this. They're fighting for their life in the finals. So by the way, who would have thought they'd be fighting off for the finals? To be honest, I think we both had them bottom 2.
Bombers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've had about 4th last, I reckon.
Yeah, had them very low. So, yeah, unreal from the Bombers just to turn it around like that. And Ben Rutten's doing a great job. So, I reckon he'll continue to do that this game. Now,
on to the next game. Giants and Tigers, 2019 Premiership Grand Final replay. Was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019. Look, we spoke about this a little bit off air. I'm going with the Giants here.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking the Giants as well. Tigers haven't shown us anything whatsoever.
For weeks now. And I tipped North Melbourne to beat them, and they very, very nearly did. I mean, hats off to Richmond, a 50-point turnaround. That's not easy. But Giants, form lines, if you're going to Geelong and beating Geelong by a margin, then you'll be beating Tigers, I think.
And they need to stay in the 8, so I reckon they'll continue that hunt with this game. The Tigers are just in no man's land. For 3 quarters, they were absolutely pumped last week by North Melbourne.
Yep.
And really came alive sort of halfway through that 3rd quarter. So, yeah, I reckon it'll be a huge game for both teams, really. Both teams can make the finals at this rate. So, but no, I'll be taking the Giants. I reckon Toby Green will play and he'll have a ripper.
Well, that's a big thing, isn't it, Toby? That's one thing we left out of the...
I've been keeping an eye on it
on the news earlier was Toby Green suspension. We're keeping an eye on it because it may come out during this podcast. So we'll let you know straight away. But, Giants rested a lot of players last week. Not it was a few injuries, but a lot of it was resting. Josh Kelly, for example, and Shane Mumford, I believe, too, was both managed. So they're going to come back fresh against this Richmond side, and I think Giants take the chockies there. I'll be taking their line big time.
Definitely.
On to the next game. Hawks and Dogs. Dogs by a mammoth margin. Moving on.
Yeah, I think Dogs they have to come back from last week. It was terrible what they dished out. I think Sweet will come in, and I think English will go forward to cover that gap of
Bruce.
Bruce.
Alex Bruce, otherwise known as.
Yeah, Alex Bruce, who did play for Hawthorn, as we found out during the podcast. Did you say that?
That was Alex Bruce. He played for Hull City.
Oh, really? I thought it was Hawthorn.
So did I.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, it is. Are you sure? It's not Hawthorn?
No. Born in Norwich.
Yeah, born in Norwich. Anyway, yeah, I think that they have to come back, the Dogs here. And I think a player who is going to go forward is Bontempelli.
And that leads on perfectly. Very good segue by Dogger here to our Brown Bats bet of the week. Now,
because someone has to replace Alex Bruce.
Alex Bruce. All right, so here we go. Here's our winger player of the week. Bankroll, ignore it. Ignore it. Oh, Brown Bats, bet of the week. Gee, I've had a few blinders today. Bankroll, 0. It's neither here nor there. Moving on. Anyway,
I don't know how that happened.
We've got no idea what the odds are going to be for this game because no odds are out. We've got no idea anything. But we don't give a shit what the odds are. I mean, it'll be $1.90 or so. But
it will be $1.90.
We are going, but I don't know what the line was, so that's why. But anyway, with these lines 28, 26.
What do you think the line will be?
I'm going to guess 27.5.
I'll guess 26.5.
Yeah, just because he had such a great game last week, they may bump it up at 1. But Bontempelli unders. I think Bontempelli unders is a great bet because he's going to have to go forward more than he would like with this Josh Bruce injury. And I think I don't want to have the forward line they've got rolling in with English and a Norn, who's not a one-out forward.
It's a weak forward line.
It's a weak forward line, so they're going to have to spice it up somehow. And Hugo Hagen, who's a kid, they're going to have to spice it up somehow. And Bont going forward and playing maybe half the game, if you can stop hitting my ear, it'd be great. Half the game as a permanent forward will hinder his disposal numbers.
And
Brownlow votes, fingers crossed. But we're thinking as well, depending on the odds, Bont unders, multi with him for 2 goals.
Imagine he just goes and kicks 6 and gets 3 votes.
That would suck. But yeah, Bont unders and Bont 2 goals. So I think he plays more forward than he has been all year. I think that's juicy odds. And that's our Brown Bats bet of the week. All right. Now, moving on to...
the best segment, no.
Oh,
no, not yet.
Oh, I was going to say, we're not to that yet.
On to the Demons versus the Crom.
Well...
It's beaten time. Last time we played them, we lost by 1 point. Nick Murray, deliberate. It was absolute horse shit. We will not lose again. Crows will be flogged, and there's nothing they can do about it. I'm picking the Demons by 60 plus here. Easy. Like 80, sort of 88 point win.
I think they played their grand final last week, and they were on emotion for that showdown, and they still lost.
Yep.
So I'm taking Demons by 100, I think. Yeah, too.
Yep.
I think Demons absolutely destroy them.
We have to. And coming back from Perth, we're charged up from all that bloody thunder and lightning that we
and they gave you a fright at the end. So that might, it's gone from being a cruisy, comfortable win to a bit of a, maybe we can't be so, complacent.
Exactly.
And I think in the back of your mind is that we were complacent last time we played this team and we lost our winning streak against them.
Yep. And the percentage is key for this game.
Huge.
So if we can really pump up the percentage here, I think we're about 2% behind the Bulldogs.
8% behind the Bulldogs,
wow,
but only 1% ahead of the Dogs. Geelong, and only 9% ahead of us.
So we really, really need to push it up. We could even bump it up past the Dogs. Who knows?
Who knows? I agree. But yeah, Demons. Got a D in there. Demons by a margin.
Yeah.
On to the next game. The North Melbourne Kangaroos taking on the Sydney Swans. Roos have been one of my favourite teams all year, but Swans won't lose 2 in a row. And Buddy kicked 6.
I think Kangaroos could win this game.
I love Kangaroos, but they won't be winning. Swans are too good of a side and too well coached to lose 2 in a row. And they'll get I wouldn't say rested because they had to rest him, but a maybe semi-recharged Callum Mills.
Yeah. Hopefully Callum Mills does get up for this game. He's had groin issues.
Achilles in the nose.
Oh, it's Achilles, isn't it? Groin issues earlier in the year. So he's had all sorts of problems this year with fitness. But no, I'll be taking the Swans in this one, but I would not be surprised to see the Roos win, so I wouldn't mind that line.
Yeah, I think the line could be big.
Yeah, I reckon it'd be about 20 points.
I was going to say, it could be 25, and if it is 25, I think I'd take that for North.
Definitely.
Next game, Port vs Carlton. This should be in Adelaide. We'll be in Adelaide, not sure when. I'll be there.
It will be 4:35 Saturday afternoon.
You reckon?
I guarantee you.
I was locked in. Is it? I thought it would be a Sunday afternoon anyway because it looks like a Sunday afternoon game.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Saturday 4:35.
Oh, we'll take that. Saturday twilight. Love that. Anyway, this is really making me scared because...
Coming at you first.
I'm not good at tipping Carlton games.
Oh, no.
So this may be one of the only games I got.
Just don't tip. Just don't
I
tip.
tipped Port to beat Carlton, obviously, earlier in the year. That may be one of the only Carlton games I got right.
Just don't tip.
I'll be tipping Port and their line. Smack them both. No, fuck it. No, tip Carlton and their line. That's why I'm going with Carlton. Because reverse psychology.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, of course I'm going Port. But gee, I think Ollie Wines will just go bunter and Port will put him to the sword. But I just can't get Carlton games right.
I can see Port winning here in a close game on Saturday afternoon.
We've had some close encounters in recent years.
You have. And I think that Ollie Wines will get 3 votes in this game and he'll absolutely tear up the Carlton midfield.
Let's hope.
Without Sam Walsh.
Is that breaking news?
It is breaking news. No Sam Walsh. He has done his syndesmosis injury and he will be out for the remainder of the 2021 AFL Premiership season.
This is breaking news.
That is breaking news.
Wow. You heard it here first on the Winger podcast. You're giving me an awful...
I don't know who the source is because I sort of just made it up, but I think he will be out.
Okay, it's not breaking news, but it's...
And Harry Mackay to play through shoulder injury.
It's Dogger's breaking opinion. So,
yes,
it always works. All right, on to the next game. You're taking Port, weren't you? Yeah, it's a close one. All right, and on to the last game. Western Derby. Derby. Do they call it Derby? Yeah, Western Derby. Derby.
West Coast.
Who are you going in this game?
I'm going to take Freo.
You're taking the Fremantle Dockers.
I think Freo will win.
I'm taking West Coast by a margin.
I think Freo will win 68 to 62.
Really tight one.
Very close game. 6 points in it, a snag in it.
Wow.
I think Andrew Gaff will line up for the winning goal and he will spray it out in full.
But he still wins.
No, do you know what he'd do? He'd probably turn around and handle it backwards. That's probably what he'd do. Useless. He's so bad. First 4 touches of the game. Running. He's got the run. He's
Your
got a
vendetta
paddock in front of
against
him.
him has to stop.
He's got a paddock in front of him. No one's chasing him. Bowie is about 45 metres behind him. And he's running. Could lay someone out. He's an okay kick sometimes. Just turns around, just handballs it to Shanahan. And what does Shanahan do? Under pressure, immediately bombs it, and then May just fists it out.
Anyway,
he did it about 5 times. Useless. So I think Freo will win. I think West Coast are useless. They're going to hang up the boots for this season. They've done it. Like they put all their chips in. Doesn't really matter. They're not going to make the finals. They know they're not. And if they get there, all they're going to do is get injured. So Adam Simpson fired at the end of this year for not wearing a mask correctly.
I'm taking the West Coast Eagles, and I think that Gaff is actually going to get the medal. So I'm taking Gaff for the medal just to go piss Dogger off. And I would like you to have a bet on Witherden, 30 plus. I think because Hearn is a question mark.
He will not play.
And surely the weather's going to clear up eventually in Perth. It doesn't rain that much in Perth, you didn't think, but it's apparently rained every day for this winter, so who knows. But let's hope clear skies that Witherden, I think he'll have a blind of a game, not actually do anything, but have 30 touches.
I think Gaff, Brayshaw, Fife, and Matthew Pavlich all have the same likelihood to win the medal on the weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly the same
exactly what you...
Gaff is the only one playing. So.
I figured that out. That's what you think of Gaff?
So I think David Mundy medal.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. What's the medal called? Matthew Pavlich medal?
No.
David Mundy medal.
It's called... It'll come to me in a moment.
Chris Judd medal.
It's not called that either. I've forgotten the name of the medal. It will come to me. But regardless, if not Gaff, Tim Kelly.
One last roll of the dice for the Eagles. Leo Barry, you star.
All right, Matt's multi.
Leo Barry.
Let's go. Matt's multi is shooting blind.
All right, so Matt's multi, there are no odds out at the moment, so I'm just completely guessing at this rate.
You've guessed every week since round 1.
Yeah, but I'm guessing, I'm literally don't even know how much it's going to pay at this rate. So for this week's of Matt's multi, it's just going to be potential odds, but it's going to be 100% juice anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Odds or no odds, Sportsbet again are shellacking this week from the Matt's multi viewers. So we're going with...
No one's listening anymore.
Brisbane, 1-39 against Collingwood. I think, I said it before, I think they'll keep it close. They'll put on a bit of a show. It will be in Melbourne. We've proved they can win in Melbourne. They won a 4-game win streak earlier this year. $1.62, I think that's what it will be. And then we're going with Demons 40 plus.
Yep, love it.
$2.20
is my guess.
Is the guess. I think the line will be about 32, 34. So I'm guessing 40 plus will be about 220. And then to finish it off, we're going with Ollie Wine's most disposals.
I love that.
We don't even know who's going to be in the group.
No.
Sam Walsh, will he play? Apparently not. We're hearing live. Sam Welsh will not play.
Wow.
So Oliver Wine's most touches.
Breaking news.
Group 1, paying $3.10, maybe. So altogether, it comes to $10.50.
Maybe.
So who knows? Can we get a win?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Probably not.
But Matt's Multi, we need a secure, real win. Hopefully we have no Friday night games.
You're telling me.
Hopefully we have no Friday night games because that's not good for us.
Probably check on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
And we have no disposal lines or anything like that. So it's huge. It could be a huge win.
Could be.
And also Jaden Short, Tom Stewart, Daniel Rich,
All aren't appearing.
Aaron Hall, all aren't appearing, who have rooted me in the past. So
Nemesis of the podcast, if you could say.
nemesis of Matt's Multi.
Yeah.
So I might even put Will Power in there for 15 touches as well. But but no, that's Matt's Multi this week. So gamble responsibly. Hopefully we have a win before the season's up. That's our goal.
Let's hope. Now, let's go into this.
Oh, I'm keen for this.
Now, I was going to say, Dog came up with this idea this morning saying, because when the season ends in 2 weeks, we'll during the week off, we will release our the Wing It podcast All Australian team. So we thought,
and also a Wing It team of the year, which will be completely different.
There we go, and a Wing It team of the year. So Dogger's idea was, how about we both think of one player who we want to put in our own teams, because we will do a combined team, but we've got to do some brainstorming first, who may not be your run-of-the-mill All Australian player who will get in.
Run-of-the-mills?
But someone you think that should make the team. I've got two. One's not a surprise and one's a very surprise, I think. So we haven't told either of us who they are yet, and we've kept it very secretive. So I'm very excited to hear who we've got. So
you go first.
I'll just do my bit more obvious one first, which isn't a huge one, but he's not in many of the predicted ones or rolling ones.
Yep.
And that is off the halfback flank. Caleb Daniel. I think Caleb Daniel has to be a lock in this team this year. He's proven he can make the All-Australian team before, as he made it last year. And here's this stat that I managed to... Don't look at my computer, please, because you'll find my next one. This is a stat I found. He's averaging 25 touches, right, which is phenomenal in a team that is
huge.
Very hard to get touches in. He's going at 80% disposal efficiency from his 25. How many players do you think are averaging 25 touches and are going at 80%?
0. Apart from Caleb Daniel. 1.
0. Caleb Daniel is the only one. Who the closest is?
Can I guess?
Sure.
Will Power.
Close. Tom Stewart going at 24 at 85%.
Oh, so he's pretty much doing it.
So no one else is doing what Caleb Daniel is doing out of that back half. And therefore, I think Caleb Daniel has to be in the All-Australian team. And if you're going to finish top 2 like Bulldogs should, you've got to have at least a defender in there somewhere.
I agree.
I think Caleb Daniel's a lock.
I agree.
All right, now let's hear your...
No, I thought you were doing your real one.
Am I doing my roughy one now?
Do your real one.
All right.
So this is a player we think... We would be quite surprised if they made AA, but we think that they think that they deserve it.
Exactly. So mine
they deserve to be in our All-Australian team.
Mine is a forward who'd be put in a pocket, I imagine, and his name is Buddy Franklin.
Oh,
yes. Not
who I thought whatsoever.
So
all right, I'm glad about that.
Here I'm going with Buddy Franklin, right? He's played 16 games of football this year, so that's low. But he should play the last 2 games. And who's he play? North Melbourne and Gold Coast. It took a very brave man not to think he could kick 8 goals minimum.
Shout out to Wayne Water.
And then he's on 42 goals right now. If he kicks 50, which is this is 4 goals a game is very achievable against 2 bottom 4 sides.
Very achievable.
For one of the greatest forwards of all time.
Yeah.
And how's this? That would mean he'll push him into 5th or 6th in the goal kicking in the Coleman. And as we will speak about, we don't think Tex Walker will make it anymore.
No.
And Josh Bruce, I don't think will make it anyway. But this. He only trails Mackay, however you pronounce it.
Who is potentially not playing.
But he only trails in this separate stat, Mackay/Mackay, Tex, who we don't think can make it, and Charlie Cameron, who's missed every game this year pretty much. They're the only 3 he trails in goals to game ratio.
Really?
No, he kicks more goals per game than anyone else.
Wow.
That's the only players he trails.
Wow. There you go.
Mackay's already in the team. Tex, I don't think can make it. And
Charlie
Cameron's only played 10 games.
Really?
I think he's your starting forward pocket. I put him in the forward pocket.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were throwing me off by saying you can't have too many tools.
You had 4.
Yeah. No, I had 3 tools.
You had 4.
I had 3 tools. And I said, who should I put in? You said
King,
Hawkins.
Bruce, Mackay, and whoever the other one was.
Yeah, exactly. I only had 3.
You had 4.
But yeah, very interesting.
There we go.
Buddy Franklin.
Yeah. I think he's an All-Australian this year and he deserves it because Sydney deserve players in that team and they won't have any.
Well, doesn't that go straight onto my player as well?
I don't know, does it?
Sydney have been one of the best teams this year.
Have.
And in my opinion, their best player, their game winner, their best midfielder has been Luke Parker. I think Luke Parker deserves All Australian.
I like him on the bench.
Listen to this. Luke Parker is averaging 28 touches.
Huge.
Above average. 15 handballs, which is elite. 13 contested possessions.
That's big numbers.
Second in the league.
Really?
To Clayton Oliver. Huge. 6 clearances. Elite numbers. 4 stoppage clearances. Huge. And a goal a game.
Yeah, because he hits the scoreboard. That's a big thing about him.
He does. He hits the scoreboard every game. And I heard a stat from Joel Taylor, our resident statologist. He has scored 9 games in a row.
Yes.
Apart from last game when Joel bet on him, didn't score. And he also averages 4 tackles and 21 pressure acts a game.
Yeah, he's a very, very good player.
And
very good.
all of these numbers that I've just read out are up from last year.
Interesting.
So he has taken a leap into his
have Sydney.
29th year. And exactly right.
29th year.
Yes. He's 29 years old.
Oh.
So he has taken a leap. And then obviously Sydney have taken that leap as well. So I think Luke Parker deserves to be right in amongst it for the All-Australian. And I don't want to see players like Jack McRae over him.
Really?
Don't want to see players like Libba over him.
He won't make it.
Don't want to see any of those players over him. So I think Luke Parker easily slots into everyone's AA team. And it's absolute disrespect if you don't put him in because he will finish top 10 in the Brownlow as well.
Interesting. Not that the Brownlow has anything to do with AA, but...
I know, but he will as well. So it'll be a huge year for him.
Oof. He's not a starting midfielder. He's going to be on the bench. And it's just,
he'll be on the bench.
I think the main worry about Parker then is if it's how they want to go with the bench.
Yeah.
Do they want to bring another ruckman in? Darcy, for example. Because he deserves it. He's been great.
Games.
Do they want to bring Darcy onto the bench and then 3 players and then it gets hairy for Parker?
Yeah.
He's that 4th fringe on the bench, I think.
Yeah.
So I like it though because Sydney deserves some players.
Yeah. And Sydney needs some players in there.
That's why I went Buddy likewise.
Apart from the 2 that we've mentioned, I don't think they have any players in there.
No, neither do I.
No,
I don't think
I've
I got a single
got none
player.
for them.
No.
Which is strange for a team who's been pushing for top 4 all
And
year.
we'll probably finish 5th.
Yeah, exactly right. So, let us know what you think on the Instagram in the comments.
Yeah.
Who is your player that you think deserves AA, but no one's talking about right now?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
Love it.
And that's the end of the Winger Podcast, episode number 25.
Exactly. So make sure to follow us on Instagram.
At Winger Podcast.
Where you can let us know about all of the AAs you think should be
Yep.
in and amongst it. And also follow us on TikTok.
At Winger Podcast.
Have a look at our YouTube as well.
At Winger Podcast.
And also listen to us on Spotify.
At Winger Podcast.
Thank you.
Sa.
Good night.